Welcome along, everybody. Welcome to Tempest Wargaming tonight. We are going to be playing a bit of Marvel Crisis Protocol. This is Tom. Tom, say hi.
How's everyone going?
Good. So yeah, this is going to be our first. Well, this is our first Marvel Crisis Protocol video. We're going to be doing these a little bit more regularly, so you're probably going to see Tom a little bit more if I can drag you along.
Yeah, I'm always up for it.
Yeah. So tonight should be fun. I'm going to be playing my Avengers, which consists of Captain America, of course, the Winter Soldier, because you got to have Captain America and Bucky, Punisher, because Punisher's amazing, which Tom,
I agree.
Completely. He is so good.
I almost ran him myself. Almost.
We could have had a double Punisher.
It could have been, yeah.
We might have to do that next time. We'll do a double Punisher. And then I've got Iron Man, because I can't get War Machine yet. And then I've got Wolverine, because the kind of the theme behind this is like your war vets.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You've got Captain Rogers, you've got, what was Bucky? Was he a captain? He was something.
Yeah.
And then you got Frank Castle, who was a Navy
Special Forces.
Yeah, Special Forces. We're not going to talk about Iron Man, and then of course Wolverine's been in almost every war since
Day dot.
Yeah. So that's a bit about my team. And then Tom, you're running.
I'm running the bad guys. So I have brought Kingpin and his criminal syndicate. So he is bringing along with him Crossbones, Mystique, Baron Zemo, and for a bit of kind of crazy fun, Green Goblin.
Nice.
I just wanted a list full of kind of bad, evil people, fixing on doing evil deeds. So Kingpin's just a big tanky leader. Crossbones, he's good at what he does. I know he gets a lot of kind of bad, negative press, but I like him. He's good, cool. and he does the damage. And when you get him to where you want to get him to, he does the work.
Yeah.
Mystique just does what she does. She'll be bringing deception as a tactics card to kind of pull people out of position and using a shapeshifter and stealth. And then Green Goblin's just going to be flying around chucking pumpkin bombs. And Baron Zemo will do his thing. He'll just be moving around the board and doing his steel rush and stabbing people with his sword.
It's going to be interesting because, again, this is my second game where I've not actually played anyone in the opposing team.
Oh, really?
I've never played any of these guys.
Hopefully you'll get to see what they can do today.
You've played...
Sorry, Brayden, my son.
Iron Man and...
Yeah.
Captain America.
Oh, okay. You're just doing your guest spot.
Yeah. I think you've done it.
I think I might have played Zemo. Once.
Okay. He's a good character, Zemo. He's been around for obviously since the core set. So, hopefully I can show you what these other guys can do.
Cool.
Hopefully.
All right. Well, join us back at the end of the first round once we've done all of our moves. Good luck.
Good luck.
Okay, so at the end of our first activation, I have activated Frank Castle, and he's just moved from being down here, and he's just moved up to the top to get hold of one of the legacy serums, as we can see right here. Tom, you activated Baron Zemo.
Yeah, I just took advantage of his long moves, got him out towards the Meteor and rolled and managed to get him a hit to flip it.
Yep.
So we're holding that at present.
Yeah, so not too much. I mean, it's the very first activation. So we will we'll do the next one and we will be right back. All right, so in the next activation we had none other than Kingpin, and Tony Stark activate. So you can see them both here. Tom, tell us what you've done with old Kingpin.
Oh, well, he's only got a small move, so I just had to kind of get him into the middle of the board where he can kind of use his tankiness. He managed to pick up the deadly legacy virus, and then, just stood there smiling at what was coming. Yeah.
So then Stark has flown up to the top of the tower here, and he's just done his repulsor beam down into Kingpin, managed to knock off 2 damage. Getting him 2 more power, but also giving Kingpin 2 more power.
And he's quite happy to take that.
Okay, so next activation, activated Wolverine and Tom activated the flying green goblin. Man, he's done a freaking amazing job on this too. Look at that. Beautiful. So Tom, talk us through what you did with
well, Green Goblin,
crazy goblin.
He never misses a trick. So he up onto the terrain and he threw his pumpkin bombs into Tony. He managed to get 3 hits through, but thanks to cover, a good roll on his his Invincible Iron Man ability.
Invincible Iron Man.
He managed to kind of only take the 1 damage, but that's all right. I'll take that. It gives Green Goblin another power. He's slowly building his power up, and hopefully can do a bit more later in the game.
Cool. And then Wolverine, he just went from here to here and grabbed one of our deadly meteors for the Avengers. So not exciting, but you know, he's got to do it.
All turn 1, that's all.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's got to be done.
So in the next round, we had Mystique come flying up the table with their long move, and we've had Captain America move on forward. So again, Tom, you had the initiative. Mystique, tell us what you got up to with her.
Well, she did what she needed to do really, which was just to get that meteor in the middle. That means we've got 2 sitting on that centre. It's going to be hard for you to flip that. And she's kind of well placed, I think, kind of going into turn 2 to try a few different bits and pieces out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It puts Iron Man and Punisher in an interesting predicament, but they've got the firepower, so we'll see how they go. And then down here, I moved Cap up just a little bit, just so that he could throw his shield at old Zemo here. And he whizzed it over and managed to knock off a whopping 3 points of damage.
He did 3, yeah. Even with Zemo's reroll, he didn't save anything. So he's taken 4 of his 5 as Zemo.
So, yeah, it was pretty good, pretty decent.
Yeah.
So this was a bit more of an interesting turn it was an interesting turn. We had Crossbones come roaring up the field, and Bucky heading over towards Zemo. So Crossbones pretty much just advancing, right, Tom?
Yeah, look, he just picked up his the Deadly Legacy virus, or is that what it's called? Yeah, Deadly Legacy virus.
Yeah.
And then he just did his other short move just to kind of start to get him where he needs to be, really.
Yeah. And then Bucky, he did bloody awesome. He did old Hydra tactics to pretty much bunny hop over Captain America, shot up Zemo, and Zemo's now been dazed. Ran up to the meteor, tried to flip it, took 2 hits, rolled 2 skulls.
2 skulls and a blank, 2 damage, and didn't flip.
So that's the end of the first turn. So we're just going to figure out points and we'll be right back. So at the end of the first activation, the first turn, the score is sitting at the Criminal Syndicate sitting on 5, the Avengers sitting on 1, but it's okay. We're gonna come back. The unfortunate thing is the Criminal Syndicate have got initiative coming into the second round. Nice work, Tom.
Cool. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay, so started turn 2. We had Baron Zemo activate for the Criminal Syndicate. Tom, tell us about your shenanigans with old Zemo over here and Winter Soldier.
There was a little bit of a misplay, really. I guess it wasn't in the end. I just used my power to do Master Swordsman with his normal sword strike, but I actually did Steel Rush first to get a 6 dice attack off, and a combination of those 2 attacks dazed the Winter Soldier. I should have done it the other way around to give myself some movement shenanigans, but actually I want to stay on the Meteor because I want to make it harder for the Avengers to try and flip.
It was nasty. Very, very nasty. Iron Man wanted to try and get some revenge, so he opened up onto Mystique. First of all, he had his homing rockets, which he managed to do a whopping 3 damage.
3. And 1 on Kingpin, but he managed to just do his intense physical conditioning to reduce damage. Just shrugged it off.
Just dusted his jacket.
Yeah.
And then I did Repulsor Blast into Mystique to try to finish her off. Did nothing.
Yeah.
She just danced out of the way and got knocked back a little bit. So not the best turn for the Avengers, but we'll see what happens next. All right, so this was a pretty awesome turn. Well, I'm happy.
Well, I'm sure you are, mate. I'm sure you are.
So we had Tom. You had a Mystique. It was actually a pretty good turn for you as well. Like Mystique got up to some
Not
shenanigans.
really. She didn't do as much damage as I like. She moved up. She played Deception to pull Frank into range of a crate. That was within range of Green Goblin to play his Trick or Treat. He blew the crate up and did 3 damage onto Mr. Castle.
Leaving Frank extremely pissed off.
Yeah, and giving him the power.
And giving him some power. So in his turn, he did. He just re-maneuvered a little bit with Spec Ops training. And thanks to the Avengers, that only cost him 1 power, leaving him 3 power left to then do aim shot into Wilson Fisk.
Yeah.
And shredded him pretty bad. Did 3 damage.
You had an amazingly good roll. Yeah, the aim shot did 4, but I reduced it by 1, so I took the 3, which took me up to 5.
Yeah.
And then you rolled insanely.
Yeah. Then I did my rapid fire.
Yeah.
And just topped him off. So
you get 5 hits through.
5
Off
hits.
4 dice.
Yeah.
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 And so I couldn't really do much. Just Kingpin had to wear it, and then he was dazed.
Yeah. So again, this is why Frank is awesome. So at the end of that activation, we had you activated Green Goblin.
It's the Green Goblin. So he was in range of Frank. So he just did his pumpkin bombs. He did some damage, which was nice. It put some power in himself. And then he was able to do hit and run. So then he did another attack, dazed Frank, used his move to drop down. Frank dropped his Deadly Legacy Virus, and Green Goblin picked it up.
Yeah, that was pretty tough, especially after Frank had such a good turn before. But I guess swings and roundabouts.
Yeah.
And then Captain Rogers was he was over here, and he called in an airstrike right on top of Green Goblin. Managed to knock through two off Green Goblin.
Yeah, he's got tanky. He's got 5 left.
And then there was, because of the explosion, clipped old Mystique, knocking her out. And then Steve just advanced up here to make sure that he can he can be in position to flip this over next time, as well as giving his buddy a bit of a hand, because Bucky's not in a good state.
No, he is not.
This one. So this turn we had Crossbones activate, come charging further up, right in the middle of the game here is, it's nasty.
Yeah, it's getting nasty, mate.
So Wolverine had to get in there. He was well out of position, so he ran right in. So what did Crossbones get up to?
He just charged up the field, mate, and he saw that Deadly Legacy Virus. He had 2 power on him, fortunately, because I played Advanced R&D earlier with Mystique to give Gobbo the power to do his hit and run, and I placed the other power on Crossbones. Fortuitously, I wasn't planning it, but when I saw that other Deadly Legacy Virus drop, I moved up, spent my 2 to pick it up, so he's now holding 2.
Nice. And Wolverine just, man of the match, bolted on over. And then, even though this was highly contested, this Meteor right in the middle, he managed to roll 2 criticals and a hit to flip it. So at the end of turn 2, he's really done the Avengers a solid by turning that over. So at the end of turn 2, coming into turn 3, officially we are at the Avengers are on 4 and the Criminal Syndicate are on 8. And moving into the first turn, Tom and the Criminal Syndicate have got initiative.
So I've got initiative. Now, one of the Criminal Syndicate's affiliation, often people think about the fact that they count for 2 when they're on secures, but they also have another affiliation bonus, which is that during an allied character's activation, it can spend 2 power, and it can move 1 asset or civilian token to another allied character within 3. So,
Watch this.
Gobbo is holding one of the Deadly Legacy Viruses. Now, he is powered up, and he can spend his 2 to pass that to Crossbones, who will then have 3 Legacy Viruses on him. Now, this mission states that if at any time a character is holding all 3 legacy cures, that character is immediately KO'd and its controlling player scores 8 VPs.
Which is critical because right now you're sitting on 8 points.
So I would
8
win
plus
the,
8 is
I would win
16.
the game. Yeah.
16-4.
But I might still do an attack action. I might still do some damage to people for some fun. But yeah, I'll be winning the game at the top of turn 3.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm going to attack with him first.
Okay, all right. You roll your attack.
I'm going to spend 2 to do his hit and run. So an attack action immediately followed by his move action, and then I'll be spending my other 2 to give it to Crossbones. I think I'm just going to chuck him into. I think I'm just going to throw him into Punisher.
Yeah, you're going to try and see if you can take Frank out.
Yeah, I'm going to stick it on Punisher.
Okay.
That's just 2.
Only 2? Okay, and Frankie's got his 3.
Oh, he's saving 1. He's taking
saves
1.
1.
Gives me another power. Immediately can make my move. I don't need to move, but I wanted to do something rather than just play the card. Just play the affiliation bonus. But I'm just gonna straight away. He's gonna move over here. He's gonna spend his 2. In the bin they go, and that Deadly Legacy is going over to Crossbones. He is insta KO'd.
He just topples over on his side.
But the Criminal Syndicate, they don't care for life. This is all about their criminal gains, and they've just made a big, big criminal game.
And that's it. That is the end of the game. At the top of turn 3.
That's the quickest game of MCP I've probably had in a long, long time.
Nice. All right, so.
I feel it's, it was a short but sweet game. It would be nice to kind of bash people around a wee bit more. You dazed and flipped Zemo, Mystique,
and Kingpin.
Yeah, and Kingpin. So
you
were
3 out of 5.
You were doing a lot of damage. I flipped Punisher and Soldier
and Bucky. Yeah.
So we've done a lot of damage in the first 2 turns, but I think for both of us, I've only just got the Deadly Legacy virus card today. So it's new for us, and this is the first time that I've run Criminal Syndicate in quite a while because I've been playing Brotherhood recently, and I think it highlights that this could be a very good crisis for Criminal Syndicate.
Hell yeah.
It will definitely be going in my deck when I play Criminal Syndicate.
Yeah, so at the end, to be at the end of, the start of turn 3.
Start of turn 3, yeah.
To be on 8 points, which is ideally where you want to be.
Yeah.
Because you kind of knew, as soon as I get to 8 points, I can play this, as long as I'm in the right position. Which you were. You had Crossbones with 2 of the serums, and then give them the 3rd one.
It was just a very bloody couple of first turns, which meant that those serums were being dropped, those Deadly Legacy viruses were being dropped. I was just in a position, probably quite lucky with, I played Advanced R&D at the right time, which gave me the power on Green Goblin to be able to move across. It was actually kind of serendipitous that I chucked another power on Crossbones. I just put it there because he only had 1 on him, but that was what allowed me to pick up that second Legacy virus, because you have to pay 1 to interact, and if you're already holding 1, you have to pay 2 to pick up a second, and you have to pay 3 if you're picking up a third. But passing an asset token off only costs 2. It's not an interact, it's not a pickup. So that Criminal Syndicate affiliation bonus is very potent in this scenario. Very, very potent in this scenario.
Yeah, it was very, very well played. Even though I lost, the end score was 16-4. It was so well played, and it was a really good fun game.
It's a nice highlight of the crisis as well. I think if I play that early, I'm running ahead and running away with an early lead, but you're losing a character. Like Crossbones had taken no damage. Yeah. If I'd done that early and I hadn't got into hadn't been in a position to win, having had 3 days characters and having a character KO, that might have been a hard game for me to come back from. Yeah. Even though it would have given me 8 VPs, but being in that, having an early lead and having priority, just perfect storm of conditions. Really. Nice. Well, perfect storm for you, perfect for me in terms of Criminal Syndicate.
An MVP for you?
Who was the MVP? It's hard when you've only played 2 turns.
Yeah, well, this is true. But
I think realistically, I mean, Crossbones did a job, but all he really did was move around the board and pick
Yeah, he
up the
kind of just
boxes.
ran up there and
Didn't do
just
any hits, didn't punch
Yeah.
anyone. I think Green Goblin actually
he freaking
he
awesome.
moved up, he chucked his pumpkin bombs around, he was
Yeah.
dazing people, he managed to get the hit and run off to pick up the legacy virus, which he passed off in the end.
He blew up Frank.
Blew up Frank. Yeah, so I think he has to go down as my MVP, really.
Yeah, I would agree.
I
I
don't know
love
who-
seeing him on the table.
Huh?
I loved seeing him on the table.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a great figure to have on the table. Very
Yeah.
dynamic, very kind of thematic.
Yeah.
Who was your MVP?
That's a tough one.
Do you know what? Weirdly, I think as much as he takes a lot of flack in this game, Iron Man did a fair bit of work for you. He chucked out
did.
repulsor blasts and
Yeah.
his homing missiles or whatever it was, and he put
was
a
solid.
lot of that out. Yeah.
I would have to say I think he was probably in the prime position to be doing what he needs to be doing.
Yes, on top of the building, just blasting away.
Just giving cover for the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
I think I would agree. I think Iron Man would probably be the MVP this time around. Poor Frank just got getting pulled out of position by mistake.
Yeah.
Um,
Look, I'm going to say it. Frank, he does the business for me. I really like him as a character. And I'm scared of him every time I face him. His aim shot, if you can get the power on him early in the aim shot, he's either doing big damage or he's slowing and stunning you. That's what I use him for when I take him in my Brotherhood lists. I power him up and I snipe characters. So I was keen to get him out of action as soon as I could.
you can't leave him.
Yeah, and so that little combo with Mystique, pulling him to place him within range for Green Goblin to do his
Just wow.
trick or treat and blow up the building and throw some power into him. And then that also meant he was in position for me to play the hit and run. So that little combo was the game turner in the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So awesome game. If you like what you're saying, tune in for more because we'll be doing more Marvel Crisis Protocol on the channel.
Yeah, hopefully.
We'll get Tom in again. We've got a couple of other guys that are probably very keen as. Leave your comments below. So again, if you like what you saw, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. Click on that follow and subscribe button. And stay tuned because we'll get some more content out within the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Awesome.